on the tree-shaded banks of Lake Dinkawawa lies one of America's great storehouses of knowledge, the Double Dome Institute for Advanced Thinking. You, sir, what is your scholastic background?
Well, I have a BA from Columbia, an MA from Harvard, and a PhD from Caltech.
And I take it you're a professor here?
No, I'm the janitor.
Oh, I see. Well, are you gentlemen members of the faculty?
Faculty, we're the freshman class. A squared B prime X plus Y. Upsilon, Omicron, Eta Theta Pi. Contemplate, cerebrate, cogitate, do. Double dome, we love you. Felicitations, felicitations, felicitations.
Yes, Double Dome is a shining jewel in the crown of American scientific wisdom, so you can imagine the consternation and dismay that prevailed when one day...
I say, Armbruster, what's the formula for the isopyridine derivative of benzene?
Don't ask me. I'm busy playing with my piece of string.
Armbruster, are you making sport of me?
Oh, no, I'm making a cat's cradle.
Hotchkiss, I think Armbruster has flipped his scholastic wig.
He certainly has. This is how you make a cat's cradle.
Yes, two of the smartest geniuses at Double Dome were now utterly stupid. That wasn't the end either. For next day at a super-secret missile base not far away...
I think you'll find the inertial guidance cam requires a beryllium alloy, gentlemen.
Beryllium?
Beryllium. B-E...
What is it, Doctor?
I can't spell beryllium.
Oh, that's B-E-R-Y-L-L-I-U-M.
Yes, but how do you make the B?
Soon panic reigned in the highest circles of the scientific community. And at a top-level meeting in Washington, D.C., an ace investigator was put on the job.
Inspector, somebody somewhere is draining off America's brain power. Do you think you can solve the case?
It's child's play, Professor.
Well, what did you find out?
I found out that you can use a magnifying glass to give people a hot foot.
Oh!
Yes, the detective was now as dumb as the scientist. It seemed that the smarter the investigator, the dumber he became.
That's it, gentlemen. We must start from the opposite direction. We have to find a sleuth with no brain to affect. We need the services of the greatest numbskull in America. And that's...
No. You're getting ahead of the story.
Ooh.
Well, the great hunt was on. Government files were ransacked for the names and records of every clodpole, dim bulb, and schnook in the country. Finally, the choice was made.
Gentlemen, upon this one nitwit rests the fate of our entire nation.
And his name?
Bullwinkle Moose, Frostbite Falls, Minnesota.
No.
Now.
You called?
Yeah, here's a letter for you, Bullwinkle.
Wowie!
Why so happy? You don't even know what's in the letter yet.
I know, but look at that stamp, a genuine picture of Lincoln with a beard.
You must be crazy about Lincoln.
No, I'm crazy about beards. What does the letter say?
It's from Washington.
Washington. You suppose he heard I was a Lincoln fan?
Bullwinkle.
I'd be a Washington fan, too, if he had a beard. And Washington needs all the fans it can get this year.
Bullwinkle, this says we have to go to Washington, D.C.
Oh, then let's.
But it wasn't that easy, for at that moment, a mysterious figure lobbed a live hand grenade at Bullwinkle.
Oh, hey, cut it out. You want to hurt somebody?
Apparently so, and we'll find out who next time in the Brain Drainers or Malice in Wonderland.
And now it's time for...
Time for the dancing fool, Bullwinkle.
Again? And now for one of our special fairy tales.
Yeah.
There was once a young lad who'd been sent fishing by his father in hopes of catching a meal for their table. The boy had fished and fished since early morning, but had not caught a single fish. There was a reason for this, however, for he had forgotten to put bait or hook or line on his pole.
There's even a better reason than that.
Oh?
There's no water in the lake.
It was things like this that caused his father to name him Booby.
It used to be Bobby, but Papa changed it.
But just then...
Help! Save me! Help!
Who are you?
I'm a brownie.
Isn't that a kind of a fudge cookie?
Right, but I'm the kind with a long gray beard, and right now it's caught on this branch.
Well, don't worry about that. I'll have you loose in a jiffy.
And with a mighty tug, he did just that.
Boy, I bet that's smart.
It sure makes the tears come to my ducts, I'll tell you that. But stick your head into that hole in the tree, and you shall have your reward.
That sounds kind of stupid even to me. Couldn't I just have a dime or something like that?
But he got no answer, for the little brownie disappeared before his very eyes. Deciding that he had nothing to lose, the boy did as the brownie told him. And when he pulled it out again, there was a bright red hat on his head. Returning home, Booby told his father what had happened.
It's once in a lifetime anybody gets to do a favor for a brownie, and all you get out of it is a red hat.
With a feather in it.
You should have gotten a magic ring, a chest of gold, even a rich princess.
A yellow feather?
You know, I sometimes wish you were an owl.
A yellow feather with a... Why do you say that, dear father?
Because at least owls are smart, very wise.
Oh, in that case, I wish I was an owl, too.
No sooner had the boy wished that he were an owl than he turned into an owl.
Ah, so that's it. The red hat is a wishing hat. It's worth a fortune. Booby, come back!
Off the man ran, and though he found owls in barns, in trees, and of course in the owl sanctuary west of the town, he didn't find a single owl wearing a red hat. He went next into the city, where he found the captain of the Royal Guard and some of his men.
Captain, have you seen an owl go by wearing a red hat?
No, can't say I have. Of course, I haven't been looking for owls wearing red hats.
Well, I've got to find him. I've just got to.
What's so important about finding an owl wearing a red hat?
He's my son.
I see. Grab him, boys.
Thinking the man daft, the captain had him seized and thrown into the royal dungeon for safekeeping. But shortly after midnight, the owl wearing the red hat flew in through the bars of the cell.
Booby! And what have you been doing?
I've been swooping down on mice in the fields. What have you been doing?
Never mind. That's a wishing hat the brownie gave you.
Really?
Certainly. How do you think you got changed into an owl?
Well, I didn't give it much thought.
You wouldn't. Quick now, wish yourself back like you were.
I wish I was Booby, formerly Bobby.
Yeah, it works like a charm. Now, wish us out of this dungeon, boy. We got work to do.
Booby did. And the following morning, they did go to work. Oh, yes, indeedy. The father thought of things to wish for, and Booby, wearing the red hat...
With a feather in it.
With a feather in it, did the wishing. They wished for fine clothes, chests of gold and diamonds, and a great castle to live in. By noon, they had everything in the world they could possibly wish for.
Well, that does it, boy. From now on, I live like a king. We're going to have a celebration.
A great feast was held at the castle, and only the most famous people of the land were allowed to attend.
So you got all this with a wishing hat, did you?
This is the hat on my head, and my name is Booby.
He means Bobby.
But, Papa, you said...
I changed it back again.
How utterly charming. I should love to see the hat work.
All right. Quiet, everybody. Bobby is going to make a wish for you.
Oh, very good, very good.
Well,
Go ahead, boy. Make a wish.
What shall I wish?
Oh, who cares? Wish anything.
Okay. I wish I was in Dixie.
Oh, no.
it was too late.
Booby, you come back here.
I thought you said his name was Bobby.
Not anymore, it isn't.
Bobby's wish had a far-reaching effect, for shortly after he vanished, so did everything else. And the father was once more a simple, ragged peasant.
I say, nasty bit of luck, old chap. Well, we must be running along now. Cheero!
Party pooper.
The father spent the rest of his life searching the woods for trapped brownies. And what happened to Booby? Well, the wishing hat didn't work in Dixie. But he didn't care, for it was still a fine red hat.
With a feather in it.
He married, he settled down, and had 100 children. And his children's children had 100 children. Yes, there was to be a long line of boobies. In fact, there are quite a few of them to this day. For some reason, they all seem to be on the freeway. Every night around 5 o'clock.
And now it's time for Bullwinkle's Corner.
Hello. Today's poem is Wee Willie Winkie. Wee Willie Winkie runs through the town, upstairs and downstairs, in his nightgown, peeping through the windows, crying through the lock. Are the children in their beds? For it's now 8 o'clock.
George, there's a prowler outside. Help! Police!
Uh-oh.
There he goes. Hit him off.
Hold it, you. Up against the wall. Okay, what's your name?
Wee Willie Winky.
Hello, R&I. You got a mate and a mug named Winky?
Why the candle? You a firebug or something?
Sir, I am a moose.
Okay, Jack, into the wagon.
Look at that rock. That's just terrible.
How come?
Why, they spelled Bullwinkle with only one L.
And now it's time...
Time for that jolly juggler, Bullwinkle.
Oh, dear.
3 at once. 1, 2...
And now here's a feature you're sure to like.
3.
It was a fine spring day in the Canadian Northwest, and Dudley Do-Right was in the best of spirits.
Dum-dee-dum-dum-dum, I feel so tippy-top today, full of pep and raring to go. I just know today will be the day I will bring in arch-villain Snidely Whiplash to justice.
Feeling pretty good, eh, Dudley?
Goody, goody, good, good, good.
But, Dudley, it's been 23 years that you've been trying to bring in Snidely Whiplash, and you haven't succeeded yet.
Well, Nell, as I've said before, if at first you don't succeed, try again.
The trouble with you is you've lost your incentive, and when a Mountie has lost his incentive, it's time to turn in his coat.
I was feeling so good a minute ago, but Nell, I've got all the incentive any red-blooded, red-coated Canadian youth would want, the RCMP.
But that isn't enough, Dudley. You have to have the feeling of being wanted. That is why I want you to wear this locket close to your heart. Open it, Dudley. You see, Dudley, it has a picture of me.
Gee, thanks, Nell.
Incentive, Dudley. I hope this little token of my love will make you remember. Don't tell anyone. It will be our secret.
Dudley, when an officer of the RCMP enters a room, it is military courtesy to rise.
But I am, sir.
You are, sir, what?
Rised, sir.
Ooh, what's the matter, boy? You're all stooped.
Oh, no, sir, Inspector. I've always walked like this.
Well, Do-Right, I have information that will start your Mountie heart pounding. Snidely Whiplash is planning to rob the bank. It's your big chance at last.
Oh, is that, sir?
Snidely Whiplash.
Is that the chap with the mustache and the long black cape?
Snidely Whiplash, Do-Right. The arch-villain that you've been trying to bring in for the last 23 years. What's the matter, Dudley? Have you lost your incentive?
No, sir. I have it right here.
Meanwhile, Snidely Whiplash was in the best of evil spirits.
Such a beautiful, gorgeous day. I haven't lifted a finger, and already Nell Fenwick has fallen into me clutches.
Snidely Whiplash, you poor, poor man.
What poor? I'm feeling great, and you, Nell, have fallen into me clutches.
If you like Snidely, but it does seem a shame.
What's a shame?
23 years.
23 years?
Yes, for 23 years you've been pursued by Dudley Do-Right of the Mountain.
That's right, and he hasn't brought me in yet.
Hunted, hounded, forced to skulk about the Canadian countryside like some kind of furtive beast. 23 years.
Stop already.
But it's understandable.
What's understandable?
That after 23 years you would lose your incentive.
I was feeling so good a minute ago. Incentive?
Yes, Snidely, but don't worry. Wear this locket close to your heart. It has a picture of me inside.
Do you think it will help, Nell?
Only don't tell anyone I gave it to you. It will be our secret.
Gee, thanks, Nell. And here I always thought you were for the good guys.
Snidely, have you considered taking setting-up exercises? You gotta do something about your posture. Man, you're stooped.
Not at all, Homer. I've always walked like this. What's on the schedule today?
Oh, we got a Jim Dandy of a day today, Snidely.
Well, get on with it.
Well, at 11 o'clock, we tie that woman down by the bluff to the railroad tracks.
Homer, could you handle that? I'm just not up to tying women to railroad tracks.
At 12 o'clock, you're supposed to foreclose some mortgages.
Now, where will it all end, Homer? Railroad tracks, mortgages.
Gee, Snidely, you sound like you've lost your incentive.
Of course I haven't lost my incentive. I've got my incentive right here.
What was that?
Nothing, Homer. Carry on.
And there's the bank.
Oh, yes, the bank. We're supposed to deposit money in the bank, Homer.
Well, you're not. not supposed to deposit money in a bank, Whiplash. We are supposed to rob the bank. You sure you ain't lost your incentive to lead a life of evil doing?
I've told you, Homer, I've got my incentive right here.
Cheese it. Here comes Dudley Do-Right of the mountains.
Is that you, Snidely?
Oh, yes. What brings you to town, Dudley?
Well, I had a reason, but for the life of me, I can't think what it was. How about you?
Something to do with the bank. I can't seem to remember whether I was supposed to deposit some money or withdraw some.
I know how that is.
What's the matter with you guys? Mortal enemies, and here you stand. You guys lost your incentive or something?
Of course not. I have it right here. You're wearing Nell's locket.
It would have been a shame to see those boys lose their incentive after 23 years.
Well, last time you remember, some of the top scientific minds in the country reverted to being morons who couldn't add 2 and 2. The smartest investigators in the world were called on to solve the problem, but they too wound up as complete stoops. In desperation, the government called on Bullwinkle Moose.
They figured I had nothing to lose.
But it looked as if Bullwinkle might not even get started, for in our last episode, somebody had just tossed a live hand grenade at him.
Well, I'll be doggied. It's a pineapple.
Throw it away, Bullwinkle.
Might as well. It isn't even ripe. Hard as a rock. Whoa! Maybe it was riper than I thought.
Oh, boy. Come on, we better get started before something else happens.
Meanwhile, on the site of the explosion, the smoke was just clearing.
Boris, Badinov, where are you?
I'm up in a tree.
Boris, did you get blown up by your own grenade again?
No, I'm up here robbing birds' nests.
But why?
It keeps me off the streets, that's why. About 10 feet off.
Oh, we're not starting out this story very well, darling.
Ho, ho, ho! One little setback, nothing. Moose will never reach Washington, Natasha. I'm going to use strategy on him.
You mean strategy, darling?
No, strategy. I'm gonna strategy the rope across the door and fasten the end to trigger of the shotgun. And when Moose comes out the door, what is it?
It's tragedy.
You said it.
But Boris was wrong again, for when Bullwinkle came out, he didn't just trip over the rope, he fell over it.
Boy, a good thing you fell, Bullwinkle. That thing went off right over your head.
Let's look on the bright side, Rock. It missed.
Not quite.
And so, in a little while, Rocky and Bullwinkle were on a train headed for Washington.
Gee, I'm worried, Bullwinkle.
The rating of the show down again?
No.
That's odd.
There have already been 2 attempts on your life.
Yeah, but don't worry. We'll be renewed.
I'm not talking about the Bullwinkle show.
You better. We can use the publicity.
I'm talking about somebody back there trying to get rid of you.
Oh, that. Well, they already missed me twice.
Yeah, but you know the old saying.
You mean everything comes to him who waits?
No, I mean the third time's the charm.
There's another one, too. If at first you don't succeed, try again. For just ahead of the train, Boris was approaching the tracks with a long crowbar.
Boris, to get Moose and Squirrel, you will wreck a whole train.
You can't make an omelet without breaking eggs, Poopsie.
And Boris started to pry up one of the rails. As fate would have it, though, this particular railroad was powered by electricity, and when Boris's crowbar touched the third rail...
Ah!
Hey, Rocky! A feller just went by who was all lit up.
We must be next to the club car.
Oh.
And so our heroes traveled across the country unscathed, as Boris continued to light up the landscape.
Well, darling, you failed 3 times in one episode.
I know, it's a new course record.
You look pretty stupid, darling.
On the contrary, Natasha, I never looked brighter.
Meanwhile, our hero's train was pulling to a halt.
So this is Washington.
No, it's McKeithport, PA.
I know, I'm just practicing.
Thank goodness this trip will be over soon.
Little did our friends know that high above them flew a mysterious black airplane, which at that moment dropped its nose and plummeted down directly at their railroad car. Well, who's in that plane? And will it really smash into the train? And if so, will our heroes escape? And if they
do... if you don't hurry, it's going to hit us before the episode ends.
Oh, yes. Remember, next time episode, the deadheads are feeling zero. Well, when we left our story last time, things were in terrible shape. Some of the nation's smartest geniuses were turning into complete idiots.
Professor, the public would like to know, what is your theory of ion imbalance in solid-state particles?
Don't bother me now. I'm watching the reruns of Pete and Gladys.
But, Professor, that's the commercial that's on now.
Yes, I know. That's the part I like best.
Within a period of weeks, America's intelligence level sank 14 points, the lowest level since 3 itty fishes. In Washington, there was near panic.
Dr. Flegel, we must have a meeting of the nation's remaining eggheads. Will you attend and act as chairman?
I can't.
Why not?
Mama won't let me cross the street.
In desperation, the government sent for Bullwinkle J. Moose.
And his pal Rocky.
Oh, yes, of course. Meanwhile, a few miles behind them...
Boris, darling, they got away.
I think maybe I've been working too hard, Natasha. I need a vacation.
What was that?
What was what? What was that?
I heard you bad enough.
Boris, that voice, where is it coming from?
My two-way wrist television?
A two-way wrist television.
I'll show that Dick Tracy.
Amazing.
Not so amazing. Everybody has one.
A two-way television?
A two-way wrist.
So, you want a vacation, eh, bad enough?
Boris, that is the voice of fearless leader.
You were expecting maybe Ellen Font?
I may be able to arrange a permanent vacation for you, bad enough.
Just kidding, fearless leader, old body boy, baby doll. You know me.
Unfortunately, yes.
Ha ha, that's funny. Funny.
It wasn't supposed to be.
Oh.
Now that you have failed on your own, you will put into effect Plan X.
Plan X? Oh, no. No.
It's an order.
Plan X it is.
Signing off. Auf Wiedersehen.
You said it. You know, Natasha, fearless leader is a lying, cheating, double-crossing, vicious, no-good killer. But someday he'll go too far.
Meanwhile, as our heroes paused briefly at McKeesport, PA, a mysterious airplane flew above their train, then suddenly plunged directly at their railroad car.
Bullwinkle, that plane! It's gonna hit us!
Just because we took the train?
But at that moment, the plane dropped a large cylindrical object and zoomed upward.
Land the lakes, now what?
That must be a bomb. This is the end, Bullwinkle.
According to my watch, we still got 1 minute and 5 seconds.
And so it seemed, for a parachute suddenly popped up from the object, and as it floated down, our heroes heard a familiar voice.
Avast and belay, piped the quartermaster and left the dinghy.
Bullwinkle, that's Captain Peach Fuzz.
He sure looks different.
No, he's inside that escape pod.
And it was true. Outstep, backwards, of course, Captain Peter Wrong Way Peach Fuzz.
Rocky, Bullwinkle, where are you?
Right behind you, Captain.
Oh, don't ever sneak up on me like that.
How come this sudden visit, Captain?
Yeah, and why the pod?
Too many starches, I guess. Oh, the pod! Well, I just had to see you.
About what?
Well, it's all in this memo.
What memo?
Oh, wouldn't you know it? I must have left the memo with the pilot.
Oh, boy.
No, that can't be. I was the pilot.
You were?
Yes. I wonder what happened to the plane after I bailed out.
Hey, I think I know.
What?
It traveled in a big loop.
Yeah?
And right now, it's coming down on our head.
Yes, sir. There it comes now. No, and oh, good heavens. Well, don't miss our next episode, 3 to go, or crash on delivery.
It was many years ago that Snow White was married to Prince Charming.
Well, Snow Baby, how does it feel to be Mrs. Prince Charming?
Oh, wonderful. At least it beats living with those 7 dwarfs. Let's see, there was Scratchy, Itchy, Sleazy, Dirty.
Never mind, dear. I know their names.
The happy couple honeymooned in Atlantic City and then returned to set about the task of living happily ever after, just as the book said. What the book did not say, however, was that they soon had a fine son.
I shall name him Joe.
Joe White. Say, that's got a nice ring to it. Have a cigar, dear.
The years went by and Joe White grew into a fine, very handsome lad. Then the time came for him to go off into the world to seek his fortune.
Farewell, Mother. I'll write as soon as I learn.
And Joe White was on his way. Another thing that the book did not say was that the Wicked Queen also had a son that he grew up to be just like his mother.
Boy, am I good looking. I am handsome. Is that not true, Mother?
Oh, well, don't bother me, Virgil. Go ask the magic mirror, as I used to do.
And Virgil did.
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the handsomest lad of all?
Virgil, that's his name. Ask me again and I'll tell you the same.
You'd better.
It had been some months since Joe White had gone out to seek his fortune, and things had not gone too well for the boy. He was tired and hungry. Now, some say that it was fate that brought him to the castle of the Wicked Queen, but actually, it was the sweet aroma of NBC peacock pie coming from the kitchen. That was when the trouble started, for upstairs...
Mirror, mirror on the wall, who's the handsomest lad of all?
And for the first time, the mirror answered...
You are handsome, it's very true, but young Joe White's much better than you.
Who?
Joe White, he's down in the kitchen.
Well, I'll just see about this.
And Virgil came face to face with Joe White.
It's true. You are better looking than me.
Yeah, I guess I am at that.
Virgil was furious.
Take Joe White into the forest and doom him.
Several hours later, however, Joe White was not doomed. He was soaking wet and walking through the woods when he chanced to meet one of the 7 dwarfs.
How'd you get so wet, boy?
The very nice captain of the guards took me out to the middle of the lake and then let me swim to shore.
Middle of the lake? Say, wasn't that a pretty hard swim for a young feller like you?
Oh, he wasn't so tough once I got out of that sack with the weights in it.
Meanwhile...
Mirror, mirror on the wall, tell me now who's best of all.
Boss, I cannot tell a lie. Young Joe White is still the guy.
But he can't be. He's been doomed.
But the mirror assured him that Joe White was very much alive and at that very moment was living in the forest with the 7 dwarfs. Furious, Virgil ran to the Wicked Queen.
Mother, can I have a poison apple?
Now, son, you know I don't like your eating between meals.
But it's not for me. It's for Joe White.
Oh, well, in that case, they're in the icebox. Help yourself.
Early the next morning...
You be careful of strangers while we're gone, boy. Remember what happened to your mother?
Don't worry, I will, Dirty.
I'm Sleazy. That's Dirty over there.
And with that, the dwarfs went off through the forest singing their happy song. The dwarfs had only been gone a short while when...
Yes!
Greetings. I have a nice shiny apple for you.
Are you kidding? I'm not stupid enough to eat that thing.
Who says I'm going to let you eat it?
That afternoon, the 7 dwarfs returned singing their happy song. And found poor Joe White lying just as the wicked Virgil had left him.
It's Joe, and he's out cold.
And here's an apple. It happened again.
Sadly, the dwarfs took the boy to a soft glade in the forest where they put him down on a bed of flowers. There he slept for 2 years until one day a beautiful princess riding a white horse came into the forest.
Is this where the handsome Joe White sleeps?
Oh, we thought you'd never get here. There he is.
The princess went to the lad and softly kissed him on the cheek, whereupon Joe White's eyes opened.
What are you doing here? Go away, you're going to ruin everything.
Here now, that's no way to talk to a princess that you're going to live happily ever after with.
Don't be silly. This is Flo White.
Flo White? You mean?
Yeah, she's my sister.
Mother sent me to bring you home. She's afraid you'll catch your dad a cold sleeping out in the woods like this.
Riding double, the two rode off on the white horse. Many years have passed since then, and never did the 7 dwarfs see the wicked Virgil or Joe and Flo White again. But they didn't mind, for they knew, just as we do, that the whole thing was just a fairy tale anyway.
Our lecture today is entitled How to Own a Hi-Fi on a Low Income and IQ. First, you should choose a hi-fi cabinet to match your furniture. Early American, French provincial, or, like my own furniture, early junkyard. Next, we have a few of our components. This is the amplifier, which amplifies the sound. Here is the preamplifier, which, of course, amplifies the pre. And the turntable, which turns the tables. Over here we see the speakers, known to all of us hi-fi-matics as the tweeter and the woofer. Special care must be taken to feed the woofer lest he eat the tweeter. The next step is to plug it in. And the next step is to call the electrician. The hi-fi gives us lovely music, but did you know that you can tell time with it too?
Shutting that thing off is 2 a.m.
Thank you. Now I'd like to play some tapes for you. Must have put some Scotch tape on by mistake. But here's my real favorite. Sing along with Lawrence Elk. A-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo.
I bring my favorite tape, Bullwinkle.
Be my guest. Put it on.
Is adhesive tape.
Well, thank you, Mr. Know-it-all.
Mm-hmm.
The Royal Canadian Mounties had not had a visitor for some time, and Inspector Fenwick was rather lonesome. And then a letter came announcing...
The arrival of my nephew Melvin, a cute 8.5-year-old. They say he's a spitting image of me. Do right, I want you to take care of the youngster. He's due to arrive on the 12:02.
But, Inspector, aren't there more important things for me to do than play nursemaid to some whining kid?
Attention, do right. You must remember that my nephew is a Fenwick. Fenwicks do not whine. And if I ever so much as hear you use that expression again, I'm going to drum you out of the force.
Yes, sir, Inspector Fenwick.
Homer, I have finally decided that the only way to beat the Mounties is to bore from within. By that I mean we will have to plant someone within the RCMP camp who will, with the nerves of steel and keen perseverance, do away with Inspector Fenwick.
But Snidely, they'll recognize me.
No, Homer, I wasn't thinking of you. The man I have in mind is Nasty Noogle.
Oh, no, Snidely, not Nasty Noogle.
Yes, Homer, things have gone too far. It's time for Nasty Noogle. We've got to get him into the Mounties. There's only one problem. Nasty Noogle is only 3 feet tall, and you know the requirements of the Mounties.
I's a blue. Heart, that's true. Snidely, Noogle's nasty.
Of course, he's nasty, but that won't keep him from getting into the Mounties. It's his height. They won't accept anyone under 5 feet 10 inches tall. But I'll think of something. Anyway, Noogle's due on the 12:02. Oh, the jig's up. Dudley's here. If he sees Noogle, he'll catch on to the whole thing.
Melvin! I am Dudley Do-Right, come to take you to camp. What's the matter? Oh, you don't have a balloon. Well, here.
What do you make of that, Homer?
Here he is, Inspector. Your little nephew, Melvin.
This is my nephew? This is my nephew. My wife's side of the family. Well, how's my little man?
I didn't do nothing.
Dudley, you know the regulations. The smoking lamp is out.
It's those bad habits he's picked up in the East, Inspector. Here, Melvin, give me the nasty old cigar.
Meanwhile, Inspector Fenwick's nephew continued to wait for someone to meet him and take him to the RCMP camp.
Now, Melvin, you know you have to eat your spinach to grow up to be a big man like Dudley.
I've eaten so much spinach, if you sprinkled me with water, I'd rust.
Precocious little rascal, aren't you? Uh-oh, time for a Betty Bye, 7:30.
Betty Bye? Oh, you're gonna get yours.
Back in bed, you naughty boy.
Meanwhile, Inspector Fenwick's nephew continued to wait for someone to meet him and take him to the RCMP camp.
Oh, a ball. You want to play catch? Here, throw it to me. Boy, what an arm that lad has. Oh, you want to play cops and robbers. Bang, bang, bang. I got you.
No, you didn't.
Now, Dudley, you see, it isn't so bad taking care of little Melvin, is it? I wouldn't let him play with axes, though.
Meanwhile, Inspector Fenwick's nephew continued to wait for someone to meet him and take him to the RCMP camp.
Hey, Dudley, can I use your razor?
I told you, Melvin, no more bombs, revolvers, axes, or razors.
But I gotta take a shave.
Nonsense. 8.5-year-old boys don't shave.
As time passed, Noogle's beard grew, and Inspector Fenwick's nephew continued to wait for someone to meet him and take him to the RCMP camp.
There's something strange about Melvin. He has a beard. 8.5-year-old boys don't have beards. Ergo, he is not an 8.5-year-old boy.
You mean, Dudley?
That your nephew is a 40-year-old man.
Then that means that I'm 97 years old, Dudley. A 97-year-old man.
Can I help you back to your office, Inspector?
Wait. Dudley, that's not my nephew Melvin. That's my nephew Melvin. Hello, Melvin.
Hello, Uncle Fenwick, and goodbye.
Goodbye, Melvin.
My vacation's over, Uncle Fenwick. I must return home now, but don't think it hasn't been fun.
Well, say hello to your mother for me. Nice lad.
Oh, I forgot to tell you, Inspector, this wanted poster came in about a month ago. It says be on the lookout for a man called Nasty Noogle.
Anything unusual about his description?
Well, he smokes cigars, carries an axe, a revolver, and a bomb. Oh, and he's 3 feet tall. You know, the usual description.
Just another face in the crowd. Eh, Dudley?
While on their way to Washington, our heroes were stopped by Captain Wrongway Peachfuzz, who had just misplaced his jet plane.
Misplaced nothing. There it is, coming right at us.
Hey, that's right, Bullwinkle.
Yeah, but...
Sure is.
Yeah, but...
You got a pretty sharp eye there, fella.
Yeah, but...
He's right, Bullwinkle.
Will you for the cry I stop agreeing with me and move over? Boy, you fellers almost agreeable yourselves under a tombstone.
But you were right, Bullwinkle.
You sure were.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Certainly slowed the old show up, didn't we?
And, Captain, you were just about to tell us why you wanted to see us.
Well, let me see if I can find the memo. Ah, here it is.
Why are you tearing it up, Captain?
It's secret, Rocky.
But you tore it up before you read it.
I know, it's top secret.
I'll say it is. Now we'll never even know who it was from.
Sure we will.
Who?
It was from me.
Then why write a memo?
Well, what's the use of knowing a secret if you can't tell somebody?
But you sent the memo to yourself.
I know, it's a secret.
If we come by this station again, I'd like to get off.
Anyway, the memo said you're supposed to come with me to McKeesport, PA, for a special job.
Right.
So let's go. I got a map right here.
But, Captain...
We'll pick up native bearers outside of Scranton.
Captain...
There's a friendly farmer near Gettysburg who'll let us stay the night.
He should. We paid his rent for 8 years.
But, Captain...
Then onward toward Wilkes-Barre
Captain! This is McKeesport, PA.
It is?
Look at the sign on the station.
I could have sworn I was landing in Skaneateles.
But why should the government want us to go to McKeesport, PA?
Probably because it's situated at the confluence of the Monongahela and Yongiogany rivers.
Yeah, but what's that got to do with anything?
Nothing, I just like the names. Monongahela, Yongiogany.
But as they walked toward the center of town, the good captain did start to tell why they were there. As you remember, the country was facing intellectual ruin because its brainiest eggheads and doubledomes were reverting to being stupid clodpoles and addlepates. For instance, at a Florida missile base...
Ready for launching?
5, 4, 3, 2,
Go on, Professor.
I forgot what comes after 2.
You forgot?
Well, it's hard counting backwards.
But, Professor, what about the launch?
My mama packed it in the brown paper bag.
And in a kindergarten class...
Now, Johnny, what is this?
Doggy.
Good. Susie, what is this? Kitty. Good. Now, Dr. Smallhausen, what is this?
Wait, don't tell me. Could it be maybe a goldfish?
As a result of this strange malady, U.S. brain power was lagging badly. Hartford University had to cancel its commencement when it found that the chancellor had signed all the diplomas with an X.
But, sir, why with an X?
It's prettier than a Z.
But what's all this got to do with us being in McKeesport, PA?
Well, I'll tell you, Rocky, it's...
Yes?
It's time for ding-dong school.
And the captain dashed into a nearby television sales room, plunked himself down before a set, and refused to budge.
Bullwinkle, it's happened to Captain Peachfuzz. Whatever it is, he's got it.
You mean he's had it?
Apparently so. Well, does this mean that the boys are stranded permanently in McKeesport, PA?
What a way to die.
Things should be clearer next time in McKeesport on the Prod or the Pennsylvania Poker. While in our last episode, Captain Peachfuzz was about to explain to our heroes just why they were in McKeesport, PA, when suddenly...
It's time for ding-dong school.
That's no reason for being in McKeesport, PA.
Bullwinkle, you don't understand. Captain Peachfuzz has suddenly turned stupid.
That wasn't a turn, more of a slight veer.
Nevertheless, the captain plunked himself down in front of a TV set and couldn't be budged.
But we still don't know why we're here.
Why are any of us here, Rock?
Well, I think there's plenty dirty work afoot around here.
Yeah, must be the coal dust.
Yeah. Come look at these footprints.
Sure enough, a mysterious set of footprints led away from the point where the good captain had succumbed to a case of the galloping dumb.
Let's follow him, Bullwinkle.
Why?
Because the good guys always follow footprints to find the bad guys.
If I was a bad guy, I'd walk on my hands.
Oh, come on.
And the plucky squirrel whipped out a large magnifying glass and began to trace the mysterious prints. Little did he know that they had been made by his old nemesis, Boris Badenov, who at that moment lay in wait with a strange-looking object beside him.
I resent that, darling.
Not you, Natasha. He means the gas gun.
So that's what that object was, a gas gun.
See, Boris, you told him.
Who cares? We got it made now.
What's this all about?
I thought you'd never ask. Come with me. Now we go through the magic of the 4-second crows dissolve to the little country of Pennsylvania.
Little but mean.
Gentlemen, we must find a way to make the name of Pennsylvania feared and hated throughout the world.
Yeah. You said it, fearless leader.
But why? Why? Look at it this way. Does Pennsylvania have any raw materials?
No.
Do we make things?
No.
Do we have any art or culture?
No.
What is the only thing we got plenty of?
Nothing.
No. Mean. We have more mean per square inch than other countries have in a square mile.
And so?
So we got to export mean to every other country.
But to do that?
Yes. Pennsylvania will declare war on everybody.
But anybody could beat us.
Yes, besides being mean, we're all cowards.
Tut, tut, gentlemen. Here is the genius of my plan.
Hooray!
Not yet, Gerhardt. I'll tell you when. We'll declare war on everybody, but we won't tell anybody. Now, Gerhardt.
Hooray!
Now, everybody.
Hooray!
And so Pennsylvania set to work to develop a secret weapon to end all secret weapons.
How about this death ray machine, Phyllis Leader?
Let's see. You idiot, it doesn't even phase them.
Thank goodness.
What?
I mean, thank badness. Eventually, though, the ultimate weapon was discovered.
Yes, gentlemen, I call it goof gas.
Goof gas?
Yes, one whiff, you're completely stupid.
Let's test it. Gerhardt, take a sniff.
Smells good.
Now, Gerhardt, do you think I'm the handsomest, kindest man in Pennsylvania?
Of course not. You're a mean, ugly schnook.
Put that man under arrest!
And poor Gerhardt was hauled off to solitary confinement.
My boy, your goof gas is a success. Gerhardt turned into a complete idiot.
But his answer was right, fearless leader. You are a mean, ugly schnook.
Of course, but nobody but an idiot would tell me so.
True.
Well, then, what country do we turn into nitwits first?
Let's pick an easy one. The U.S. of A.
Hold it. We can't go on with this.
Why not bad enough? It's too cruel and mean?
No.
It's inhuman?
No.
It's expensive?
Not even that.
Then what?
It's the end of the episode.
And so it is, but we'll reveal the rest of the fiendish plan next time in Hairbrain Boris or the Dumb Bunny.
And now it's time
for 5 or 6 baritone solos in the key of E.
But now for another of our special features.
Should have tried E flat.
Junior, what are you doing?
I just chopped down this old tree, Dad.
Yeah, I noticed that, but why?
'Cause my girl and I have broken up.
That is no reason to chop down a tree.
Well, you see, I carved our initials on this tree last Valentine's Day, and I don't want to have to look at them anymore.
How do you know she won't come back? Remember the old saying, he who loses faith loses all.
How did you know my girl's name was Faith?
I didn't, but I do know a fable that would help you to face the facts a little more clearly. It's called The French Poodle and the Alley Cat. Years ago, not very far from here, there stood a tiny village named Barrel City. The reason it was called Barrel City was because clothes not having been invented yet, its citizens wore barrel.
My, that's a stunning barrel. Cracker or lard? Pickle. My, it is a dilly.
Wearing barrels had its disadvantages, however. Not only was it difficult sitting down, but everyone's barrel looked alike. That is, until a French poodle, out to seek his fortune, opened a paint shop.
I will paint my way to the pinnacle of success.
Well, sir, that started a fad. By the end of the week, everyone in Barrel City was sporting a different colored barrel, painted by the French poodle who in turn became the fashion leader of the community.
Here, mesdames et messieurs, we have my latest creation. A polka-dot barrel with matching holes and a cerise ribbon draped around the slats. Breathtaking, n'est-ce pas?
Both the poodle and his shop continued to prosper until one fine day, a seedy-looking alley cat wandered into Barrel City and had the misfortune to pass beneath a window ledge upon which rested a flower pot containing one petunia.
Look at that stunning hat!
Word spread like wildfire throughout the city that a new style of headgear had been created. The cat, quick to seize the opportunity, bought all the flower pots in town and rented a dilapidated rundown shack that happened to be right next door to the poodle's barrel shop.
Bonjour, Mademoiselle Goose.
Bonjour to you.
I suppose you're in the market for a new barrel.
Quite the contrary. The new rage is flower pot hats.
If this keeps up, I will be the Rupp-Bankted.
That night, under the cover of darkness, the poodle, carrying a can of gunpowder, stole into the alley cat's hat shack. Striking a match, he lit the fuse.
That should take care of him.
But with the dawn came the sad realization that a slight faux pas had been committed, for instead of blowing up the cat shop, he had blown up his own.
Are you having a fire sale this week?
You little stinker, you are the cause of all this. But let the bygones be the bygones. Therefore, I would like to cement our friendship.
That's okay by me.
Bon. Now, in case you did not know, you have become quite famous, and people who are famous put their footprints in cement. Step into this bucket.
The cat did, and the cement hardened fast.
Tell me this. Can you swim?
Oh, sure.
With a bucket full of cement on your feet?
Oh, no.
That is all I want to know.
Wasting no further time, he dragged the helpless cat to the riverbank and pushed him in.
Au revoir!
So I got a little bad news for you, Poodle. That river's been dry for years.
Calamity followed calamity, for the townsfolk had seen the cat clomping along in his bucket full of cement, and this too caused a sensation. 2 days later, everyone was wearing this new type of shoe.
That does it. I might just as well kill myself.
But he didn't have to, for the townsfolk suddenly decided to hold a fashion contest, and the one who came up with the most ingenious design would get a contract that would set him up for life.
Good luck, Poodle.
This is my last chance.
The poodle worked feverishly and by morning had devised a new type of summer dress, which was in reality a flat tire with a moldy shower curtain hanging from it. But the alley cat was equal to the occasion, for he had created a hat consisting of a saddle studded with horse chestnuts. The poodle took one look, gasped.
Gasp!
And knew he'd run a poor second. But there was still time to act, for if he could ruin the hat before the judge saw it, he might still be victorious. There on a long banquet table sat a large vat of beef stew, but didn't sit there long. Well, sir, you'd never believe what happened. That cat still believed that his creation, even covered with beef stew, was still a winner. And he was right.
Some fable, Pop.
Well, I think it does prove that he who loses faith loses everything.
It also proves something else.
What?
If the stew fits, wear it.
Greetings, you culture bugs. Today's poem is called The Daffodils. I wandered lonely as a cloud that floats on high o'er vales and hills, when all at once I saw a crowd, a host of golden daffodils, continuous as the stars that... Hey.
Can't you read the sign, buddy?
Well, certainly.
What sign?
The one behind those daffodils.
This one that says, "Do not pick flowers"?
That's the one.
Well, there I was, Your Honor, wandering lonely as a cloud that floats...
30 daffodils, eh? That will be $30 and 30 days.
Now oft, when on my couch I lie, in vacant or in pensive mood, they flash upon my bright blue eye, as I sit here in solitude. And then my heart with anger fills. $1 apiece for daffodils?
And now...
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat. See? Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! Wrong hat.
And now it's time to meet Mr. Peabody.
Hello out there, Peabody again. For today's journey into history, we are going back to...
Hi, Mr. Peabody.
Hello, Florence.
Florence? My name isn't Florence, Mr. Peabody. It's Sherman.
I was in the process of explaining that we are going back in time to visit Florence Nightingale.
You mean history's most famous nurse?
Precisely. Please set the way-back controls for the Crimean Peninsula in the southern section of Russia, site of the Crimean War.
Got it. And the year?
1854. The way back, dependable as always, wasted no time in taking us to our destination, a field hospital just 2 miles from the enemy lines.
Come on, Mr. Peabody. I'll bet Miss Nightingale is inside.
She was, but we expected to find her beside a bed, not in one.
Miss Nightingale, are you sick?
Extremely. And ill is the word, young man.
Where, may I ask, does it hurt?
Where doesn't it hurt? You see, they call me the lady with a lamp because I go about administering aid by lamplight.
Yes, we know.
Yeah, but what you don't know is that the Russians took all our oil in a sneak attack. Therefore, my lamps are useless. I've been forced to go around in the dark.
Golly, that could be dangerous.
I noticed that. So far this week, I've fallen into 22 trenches.
But don't you worry, Miss Nightingale. We'll get the oil back for your lamps. Won't we, Mr. Peabody?
Of course. Sherman and I started off immediately and under cover of darkness managed to successfully slip into the Russian camp. Finding the oil drums was no problem, for they were stacked everywhere.
So far, so good.
Less than an hour later, Sherman and I were sitting atop a horse-drawn wagon filled to capacity with oil drums and heading back for the Allied lines.
Just one moment. Where do you think you are going?
Uh-oh, a soldier. I'll throw him off the track. The general asked us to bring these oil drums to him.
Good, then put them here in my tent.
In your tent? Why?
Why else? I'm the general.
Sherman's boo-boo left us nothing to do but follow the general's orders.
Seems silly that I would order oil drums brought to my tent, but I am general, so must be good reason.
Quite right. Now, if you'll excuse us, but as we turn to leave...
General, somebody has stolen a bunch of oil drums.
Needless to say, that tore it. We were quickly apprehended as spies and placed in a prison tent under heavy guard.
What are we going to do, Mr. Peabody?
It has become quite obvious the only way we can get the oil from Miss Nightingale is to have the general himself send it back.
The general? How are we going to do that?
That will be simple. The problem right now is getting ourselves some disguises. I solved that problem by taking the hair from a mattress on the cot and fashioning beards for Sherman and myself. Eluding our guards by slipping under the back of the tent, we went directly to the front of the general's quarters. Get me a bucket of oil from that drum, Sherman.
Yeah, here you are, Mr. Peabody. Now what?
First, I pour it on the ground, like so. General, could you come out for a moment?
Coming. What's all there? What's going on? What happened?
It appears as though you slipped on some oil.
Who are you?
I am Mr. Peabody, and this is Sherman Skovich.
Nice to know you, but isn't the kid a little young to have a beard?
Not really. You see, he's a little shaver who never shaves.
Are you kidding? I will go get something to eat. Maybe it will calm my nerves.
That is our cue, Sherman. Your eggs, General?
Say, that looks good. Those eggs taste like 30-weight crankcase oil.
Perhaps it's because they were cooked in 30-weight crankcase oil.
Oil. Every time I turn around, something is oily.
Calm yourself, General. What you need is a nap.
Good idea. If this keeps up, I'm going to have a nervous proposition.
It's working, Sherman. Waiting until the general had retired and was fast asleep, Sherman and I crept up to a huge pile of oil drums which were directly behind his tent. I instructed Sherman to remove the peg supporting the key drum, and gravity did the rest.
Don't tell tell me what happened. I know it's oil. Oil to the left of me. Oil on top, oil everywhere.
With all the trouble this oil is causing you, you very well might lose the war.
That's right. You got advice?
Always. Why not send all of the oil to the Allies and let them have the trouble?
What fiendishly clever idea.
With a signed order from the General, we, of course, had no further trouble getting the oil back across the lines.
You did it again, Mr. Peabody.
Miss Nightingale's problems were solved. But such was not the case for the soldiers. Though they now had plenty of oil, there was an acute shortage of water. They had to bathe in oil at night before going to bed, and again in the morning instead of taking a shower. One good thing did come of this, however, a famous saying that we use to this day.
Mr. Peabody, you don't mean...
Yes, I do, Sherman. It's oily to bed, oily to rise.
Last time we found out why there has been such an epidemic of stupidity in the United States. It seems that Pennsylvania, that mean little country, has attacked us with a secret weapon called goof gas.
Right. One poof, you're a goof.
Yes, for the past several episodes, Boris Badenov has been shooting goof gas at America's leading smart Alex and whiz kids.
And so, gentlemen, I have devised a totally new compulsive force to launch our missiles.
Yes. What is it?
It's a rubber band.
Ladies and gentlemen, for my first baritone solo this evening, I would like to sing one of my favorite arias from La Sierra d'Amore. Flim, flam, flee. Wanna hold you tight, I wanna hold you. I wanna die, I wanna die, I wanna die.
Boris, that's terrible.
It's the horrors of war, Natasha.
But now, at this very moment, our heroes are hot on Boris's trail.
This way, Bullwinkle.
Isn't it, though?
Little realizing that Boris is really lying in wait for them. So as our heroes rounded the corner...
Take that, moose and squirrel.
Hey, that smells good. Say, Rock, that feller squirted us with perfume.
Perfume nothing. I know what that stuff is.
Aha, the answer to the plot.
And what's more, I know who's doing it.
Pray tell all.
I know where I've heard that voice before.
Wowie! I'll take notes.
The villain of this whole show is named...
Yes.
Gee, I forget.
You forget?
Forget what?
You said you forgot something.
Golly, now I even forgot what I forgot.
Well, won't need the old notebook anymore.
And who are you, stranger?
Stranger? Oh, my stars and garters.
Boris, one more second and Squirrel would have said your name.
Yes, it seems a shame, Natasha.
What?
I could use the publicity.
Why didn't goof gas affect Moose?
Because goof gas affects the brain.
And?
No brain, no effect.
It was true. Bullwinkle's built-in stupidity made him the only living creature immune to goof gas.
A lot of good that does me. I don't have anybody to feed me a straight line anymore.
Tell me about the rabbits, George.
You see what I mean?
Well, Natasha, we stopped those two busybodies cold. Now on to the hardest part of in this plan.
And that is?
We're going to take Washington.
Darling, that's not hard.
No.
Look at headline.
Boston takes Washington 7-2.
Anybody can take Washington.
Wait till next year. Come on, Natasha.
And the two villains headed off for our nation's capital. A few days later, they were in the Congressional Visitors Gallery listening to the speeches.
Mr. Chairman, I'm against all foreign aid, especially to places like Hawaii and Alaska.
I demand we increase taxes for everybody under 67.
How old are you?
68.
We've got to get the government out of government.
Well, let's go, Natasha.
Go. You're not going to squirt them with goof gas?
It's too late. Somebody beat us to it.
Then where next?
It's going to be big surprise.
Surprise indeed, for the two no-goodniks were headed straight for...
I said it was going to be surprise.
They were headed straight for...
Now, where are we going?
Gee whiz, now I don't know. Anyway, be with us next time be with us next time anyway. Gee.